Alright, so I have a particular process for exporting a song when I have the song finished and now it's just ready to render. So I'm going to go ahead and show you through that process. So I have two regions currently. I have an intro region and a main loop region, and typically I would feed these two files to a video game, and the intro would play first and then the main loop would play second, and the main loop is what loops over and over. And right now I have these two separate regions to export, but I do not have the version of the file that is pre-looped. So I'm going to make that. And the way I'm going to make that is I have a folder called pre-master, and it essentially acts like a master bus, but in a normal track instead of the master track. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to right click on this, and there's an option called render freeze tracks, and I'm going to render that in stereo, and that is going to give me a render of the entire project as a clip that we can use in the project, so we don't have to render this to a WAV file and put that into another project. No, it's just right here. So I am going to take this and I am going to splice that. I'm going to hit the S key, and then I'm going to right click this and glue items. Now what that allows me to do is to loop it like this. Now if I'm going to go ahead and Control Z to before right here. Okay, so this is before I spliced it. If I were to go like this, it doesn't loop it. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit S, going to glue that, and there's the loop. Okay, so I am going to loop this 2 times all the way through, and then 1 additional time for just a second, and then I'm going to fade that out. Now I'm going to hit V to give me the envelope for volume. You can also hit P to give you to toggle the envelope for panning. I'm going to go ahead and shift click right here, shift click right here, and there's my fade out. So I have that set up the way I want. And now I'm going to create a third region. I'm going to go ahead and select that entire clip. I am going to hit Shift R to add a new region. I'm going to shift double click to edit that region, and now I am going to name that looped. Alright, so I am in my render screen now, and instead of master mix, I'm going to hit render region matrix. Region render matrix. Dyslexia, love it. So I'm going to go into my matrix right here, and I have my 3 regions right here: intro, looped, and main loop. And if I wanted to, I could render each individual track, like each instrument, for example. Like if I had that piano lead, if I wanted just that alone, like that stem, I could select that for whatever region I wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and add that looped region. I just want the master mix because I'm just rendering just the normal version of the song. But all 3 of those are in. And in the name, I have Nightfall, that's the name of the song. And in brackets, I have $region. What that $region is it's what's called a wildcard that gives me the name of the region. And when I go into my file list, instead of $region, it says intro, looped, main loop. And you can see there are 6 files and not 3. We had 3 regions, but there are 6 files. And the reason is because I have 2 different file formats that I'm exporting. Right here in primary output format, I have that dialed into WAV the way I like it. And in secondary output, I have MP3. So whenever I render, whatever I'm rendering, it renders two files of that. It renders an MP3 and a WAV. And so there's my file list. That looks good. I have the intro, looped, and main loop with MP3 and WAV. That's a total of 6 files, and we're going to hit render. It's asking me if I want to overwrite that. In this case, I actually do want to overwrite that. And it's going to give you that screen if you don't have this checked. If you have this checked, it's not going to give you that screen. It's just going to automatically overwrite those files. Silently increment files to avoid overwriting. That's going to give me, for example, if I had song.wav and I had already rendered that to a file, but then I tweaked something and I want to re-render it to that same file, it's going to render that to song.wav 0-01. And it's really nice so that you don't overwrite previous versions of renders. Reaper's cool. It has a lot of cool features in that. But I'm going to go ahead and check that file. Nightfall looped. The master is sounding the way I want. I'm going to go ahead and check that fade out. The fade out sounds good. We have a good file. Let's go. So that is my process for rendering. So if you liked the video or found it useful, give it a thumbs up, maybe share it to your bros, maybe subscribe. That'd be cool. Warren out.